It's all about health, nutrition, wellness, and spirituality. Dedicated to helping you navigate the roadmap to a better you. Welcome to Real Talk Live. Here is your host, Jack McAdoo.
What is happening, everybody? It's Thursday. What's up, Thomas?
Hey.
Okay, that sounded real crappy. Hey. What's up? Everything good?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I'm working through it.
Yeah, that didn't sound too positive. Seemed all right when I brought in donuts this morning.
Well, yeah, you bring in donuts, and I'm doing a detox, so I can't partake of those. And then you ask me how I'm doing,
and everybody here's on a damn diet. Screw the diet. I worked hard. No, I'm kidding. What's happening, everybody? I hope you guys are doing well. I have an interview scheduled today. I'll take care of some business before I get to that. No video on this one, but the audio's there. And before I get started, I want to mention just what I did the other day. The Bergen Family Center. If you're watching social media, you see it on the screen. If you're listening to a podcast, you can go to their website. But the Bergen Family Center is having their yearly gala. It's their annual gala. It's at the Rockley at 26 Paris Avenue in Rockley, New Jersey on November 6th. And if you go to their site, bergenfamilycenter.org, you have a chance to, purchase tickets, purchase a table. They have different levels, platinum, gold, silver, bronze. If you want to go, if you want to attend, it's an amazing event, goes to a good cause. And even if you cannot go, you can still go to the site and donate to it. As low as $50, you can get like on a friends list or something within the program. And I think for $100, you can get a business card size ad. So you can do that. And what they do, just a little bit about them, they strengthen communities by providing services to individuals, families, and children that enhance enhance them so they can function independently. Why are you laughing?
They can function.
Yeah,
we're not sure about you
today. But please, check out the Bergen Family Center, bergenfamilycenter.org. Moving on. Today I have someone, this is going to be a good show. All the shows are good, but this is going to be a good interview. She is a celebrity matchmaker. She was the star of Bravo's Miss Advised. She's been doing this for 15 years, and this is Amy Laurent. She has been the nation's most successful high-end matchmaker. She has an exclusive dating service that caters to A-list celebrities and Fortune 500 executives. Absolutely amazing. She's won a lot of awards, I guess.
She'll probably tell us about that. Yeah.
No, she hasn't won a lot of awards. She's been on a lot of shows. She has. She was in the running to appear on Oprah's 9 Female Power Players. Oprah has also said, if you haven't found the one, call Laurent, a matchmaker who facilitates life's most important mergers. You know what? I'm just going to bring her on. What's happening, Amy?
Hi, Jack.
I screwed that up.
What an intro. Thank you.
Have you won some awards?
Well, I would say some babies and some weddings are pretty much my awards.
Cross-country skiing in high school,
I played field hockey left wing. I was pretty good.
There you go.
Yeah, so, and I'm not going to sit here and talk about like awards that I've won, but yeah, it's nice to be recognized,
absolutely,
in the media as someone that gives good advice, does good work, of course.
Yeah, you've been on a ton of shows too. You've been on NBC News, NBC The Today Show, Your World with Neil Cavat.
Neil, love Neil.
Yeah, the early show, E! News, Fox and Friends, Kathy Lee. The Wendy Williams Show. Wendy's it now. She's booming right now.
Oh, that was so much fun.
Yeah.
So much fun.
Then you write for a bunch of magazines. You do commentary for Cosmopolitan, Glamour, Huffington Post, Ariana. Very, very cool. Some good stuff.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Also, real quick, if anyone is listening, there we go. And you want to call in, it's 949-441-4321. If you want to talk to Amy, if you're not shy, you want to talk to her. Again, 949-441-4321. I will say this, and this tends to scare people all the time. It is a hotline. So when you call, you're on. It's okay, well, hold on. This isn't like radio. No, you're on. So be bold.
Turn off the TV and stuff in the background.
Absolutely.
You'll be on.
I have on the screen right now your book. What is it? Weeks to Everlasting?
Yes, 8 weeks to Everlasting.
Okay, I see it now. That's the rings that are combined.
Well, and it's interesting because people look at that book cover and they're like, oh, this is about 8 weeks to Everlasting, getting married. And it's not that at all. It's really a book about how to navigate the first 8 weeks of dating when you first meet someone new. That is the most kind of confusing and torturous time for people because they're very vulnerable at that stage.
Yeah, that's the first 8 weeks. I have
getting to know someone. It's not easy.
I guess I used to have a saying for that, and I cannot remember what it was. It wasn't good, but
dating is hell? No, I'm kidding.
No, it wasn't that. I mean, it's like, you're representing a company. It's kind of your business card, but you're not telling what the whole company really is. You're on your best, man. Well, that's true. When you're first dating someone, you have to, that's what the book is about. Is I have clients that say to me, oh gosh, this is really crazy because I really like this person, but I can't really read them, or they're not putting all their cards on the table. I hate playing games. And I tell people, listen, this isn't about game playing. There's always going to be this little dance that we do early on when we're getting to know someone. And it doesn't mean it's a game. It doesn't mean you're faking and being someone else, but you're not going full throttle, from the get-go. There is a little dance that men and women have to do early on. It's like two birds dancing.
It is.
Showing their
feathers.
What got you, I'll start with this. What got you started in all this? What led you to become a matchmaker? What was it for you?
So it's not like a cliche story like, in kindergarten, I matched my friends who are now married when I was 5. It didn't happen that way. I've always been a people person. I kind of think back to my days in school and middle school and high school, and I never was in one clique. I was popular in the sense that I wasn't the best looking girl. I wasn't, I was popular because everybody in every single clique identified with me, liked me. The jocks, the nerds, the theater group, the goth, all kinds of people. And I've always been interested in what makes people tick. And I didn't, wake up and go, oh, I'm going to be a matchmaker one day. I kind of fell into it. I basically was doing another job, and, I wasn't happy at that job. I wasn't passionate about what I was doing. And, at the time I had moved from the East Coast to Los Angeles. And I don't know if you've spent much time in LA.
I used to live in LA, so I know.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. You did. Orange County and LA.
Yeah.
And everybody spends time in their car. So they're not really, it's very hard to meet people. New York is a little bit more interactive. And at that time, many moons ago, I actually tried using a matchmaker. Horrible experience. And I'm not going to say who it was with. I'm not going to say, but it was not great, let's just say. And, I was kind of scratching my head like, wow, this is like a pretty, important role. And I can't believe how, disappointing it was. So several years later, and people kept telling me, you'd be really good at that. You should do something like that. And it was a joke at first. I laughed at it for 5 years. And then one day I literally woke up and go, you know what?
You're going to do it.
I will do that. I think I'll give that a try. So it came in stages.
And you put celebrities together, A-list, in Fortune 500 people together. And I guess it's because they don't have the time today, which seems weird to me. We don't have time to find anybody. It's like.
It's not weird at all. So, but I know how at first glance, it's like, oh, don't they have all options available. The issue is that celebrities specifically have all options available.
Sure.
That's the problem, is you're in this bubble where you don't feel anyone is, dating you for you. And let's say, I've worked with, of course, I'm not going to say who over the years. I would be able to, and I know that you were going to ask me.
We screened that one beforehand. I was not going to mention names.
Yeah, but there are individuals that I've worked with that you would never in a million years ever guess that they were my clients. And I know but that's really the extent of what I can say. But I'm not talking B list. I'm not talking C list. I'm talking like the top 10 A list. Yeah.
Very cool.
But you have to imagine dating for them is not easy. And through me, everybody is screened. And actually, people are put together in a very genuine way, meaning initially the other person doesn't quite know who that person is.
Okay.
But day-to-day people need a matchmaker because at the end of the day, online dating isn't the easiest to navigate. People don't meet in grocery stores anymore.
No.
They're ordering from Whole Foods.
Right. I know, right? Going to pick it up or sending their car to go get it. Yeah.
Well,
when I lived in LA, this is years ago, Sean Cassidy was my roommate. This is when he was like booming and he couldn't date. He couldn't date. He was shy? Well, no, let me rephrase that. He could, but it was just, he had no clue to who to trust.
Right.
I know.
He could talk to someone and they would be sincere, but the ulterior motive was there, and so there was no
doubtful.
Yeah. So there was that with him and his brother David, and it was someone trying to get to Shirley, or at that time was his dad Jack, and it was like, so there was a lot of walls around it, and it was kind of sad to see. But it is sad. There were friends, and the only friends were the ones that were within the industry, itself. And then even with that, there was a thing where if he was going out with somebody, I know I'm not going to mention the women. I'm just not going to. But there were some times when, he would be going out with one of them, and he had to hide from paparazzi, and it was just an innocent going out to dinner as a friend.
Yeah. So it was a different world.
Yeah,
and imagine, you and I, as people, if we go out on a date, first dates, it's nerve-wracking as it is, and it's exciting. But imagine, being a celebrity where it's really hard to focus on that first date because you're actually wondering, okay, how am I going to get into this restaurant?
Right.
And prearrange, they need to have a table where, how can you enjoy first date conversation when people are like, oh my, the table next to you is listening in, going, oh my God, I think this is a first date.
Yeah,
what are they saying?
The phones are going off. They're live streaming and everything else.
You know what I'm saying? So it's we don't think about that. And just FYI, some of the top names that I've worked for over the years, it's been fascinating for me because I don't look at them as they're anything different or more special than the next person. At the end of the day, I see what's behind that orange curtain when we're working on this kind of level. That kind of stuff is put to the side, and I don't think a lot of people get to see that side of celebrities. And there's very few people I feel that they trust to actually show what's behind that curtain.
Yeah,
and they're human beings.
Yeah, I was going to say that a lot of times. It was watching him. I've been around more than him, but that was I got to see that daily.
That was intimate view.
Yeah, and it was sad almost. Oh, trust me, he had a good time. It's fun, but you have to even think of how, at the end of the day, it's like everybody's soul. We all want to be loved, and I feel that humans have a desire to also give love. And for that, and for that period of time, for him, it was like number one. He was number one, And it's just,
right.
he wanted
insanity.
this personal thing because everything else was just fake,
Exactly. And it's sad, and it's a lonely space to be in. So you have to remember that, I know it's like sounds so cliche, but I'm like, celebrities are people too, but they're not only people, they're just like us. They have their fears, insecurities, whatever they represent in the public is it's a representation. And you have to remember that. I just find it so funny, whether I'm in LA or New York, and let's say I'm out to dinner with friends, and I just get a kick out of it, like I don't know, Robert De Niro or someone will be at the net, and my friends will be like looking, and they're like, Amy, and they're tapping me, and they're like, you must have not seen it. Look who's over there. And I look at them, I'm like, I know. But like, it's like I see someone like that, and basically I just don't pay attention to it. And I also know that they just want to be treated like a regular person too.
Absolutely. And I've been around it for most of my life, and that's how I look at it as well. Oh my gosh, this person's there, and I've been around it so much. Okay, yeah, leave.
I'm like, let,
but it's more of, and with me,
they have broccoli in their teeth too.
Yeah, and it's like,
so what? Let him eat his dinner. I'm eating mine.
Yeah,
exactly.
And with me, it's more like just leave him alone. Let him.
Yeah, I mean, imagine living your life like walking through, like you feel like a wild animal in a zoo that everyone's looking at. But
Absolutely.
That's the career path they choose. And some of these celebrities who just got married. So I went to a client wedding 2 years ago. And by the way, I don't get invited to them all, which is totally fine. In fact, if a client invites me to the wedding, I'm grateful, appreciative. It's people want their privacy, so it's not an expectation.
Right.
So it's really nice. And it was in was it South Carolina? It was a really, really beautiful wedding.
Everybody's Googling now. Celebrity married.
Actually,
no,
she wasn't the celebrity, but she had, because I just gave commentary because Justin Bieber, I think, has come a long way.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I never was like a Bieber fan, but she texted me and said, "Oh my God, he just got married at the same place to this girl Haley, who I think is perfect."
Yeah, Haley's cool.
Yes, and those two, just how they balance each other. What did they? Oh, rustic wedding chapel, and that's where my client and his Palmetto Bluff Hotel.
Oh.
So that's the wedding I went to 2 years ago, and she was so excited. She's like, "Look, Bieber and Haley just got married there." And I also find that celebrities, some of the relationships that really, really work, you see are celebrities that marry or are dating someone that they knew from like high school or back in the day, because really, if you're a celebrity like that, you tend to surround your close friends consisting of people that you knew before.
Right. Absolutely.
And yeah.
See, I agree with that one. I agree with that 100%.
Yeah.
So the people that you connect, whether celebrity, someone in business, male or female, let me ask you this. What's the percentage of it that works long term?
Breakups do happen. I'll be honest.
I'm sure. Absolutely.
Yeah. And I have to remind people, because, sometimes clients are like, all right, what are my chances here? I'm looking for marriage, and, what do you think is going to be the outcome? And I remind people, listen, my job, I wear several hats, but my matchmaker hat, this job alone is to have the strategy, the judgment of selecting your highest potential candidates, and vice versa, you for them, and putting you two together in a room.
Right.
And even when that works out and the chemistry, it is still up to both parties to make that relationship work. And I can't do that for you. I can give advice. I'm always here. But the longevity and your chances for longevity greatly depend on how much work the two people are willing to put in, and they don't have to be perfect. Everybody has, I call it a toolbox. Sometimes if it doesn't work out with people, it's not because there wasn't wild chemistry and wonderful things in the relationship, but sometimes if it's unequal and one of the parties, there's still a question mark on something about themselves personally, I say, you know what? It was the right person, the wrong time. And if you don't have the right tools in your toolbox to fix, you're going to have to navigate through problems and issues. And if there's communication issue, because maybe you never quite learned, or you never learned how to take responsibility for a mistake that you made. I see that sometimes in relationships. If you don't have to be perfect, but you have to have the basic tools to come to the table through those ups and downs. And sometimes people just need more time to work on that for themselves.
Absolutely. Yeah, I've got some questions on that subject here in a little bit. Shows like The Bachelor and The Bachelorette, what is your thoughts on that? To me, I just think it's a joke. But
how do I say this? But I'm not tied to confidentiality.
I watched the last one because there was a dude from where this is broadcasting from. Okay. And and none of the dudes liked him. He was going after the girl, the Bachelorette, and none of the guys liked him. And then he showed up even after he was kicked off and all this other. What do you think about that? Is that, I don't know. Have any of them ever worked out? Again, I don't watch the shows.
I don't really follow it either, but I'm thinking about how I can say this without
exposing.
I mean, obviously, I don't have a contract with them, but yeah, I'm trying to be. I'm going to say it's allegedly, but I'll tell you what I allegedly
have heard.
So that's important. Oh my God, my attorney is probably going to be pinging me in a second.
You don't have to answer anything that could go somewhere else.
Listen, it's an entertaining show, right? The ratings are there. It's a highly successful show.
Absolutely.
I'm a strong believer in there are no absolutes. If anyone sits here and says, this will never happen, that'll never work, they're sort of full of it, because we all know nothing in life is 100%.
Absolutely.
Now, so I'm not saying it could never work out, but I'm saying fundamentally, and for the majority, that structure, it's for a show. Right. It's entertaining. Now, as a woman, I guess I sort of know what the appeal is, but my personal choice, even when I was younger and 20 and these women, nice young women, there's something about my belief in, I don't feel like I need to vie for someone.
Right.
Or if you're a man, I don't even tango with that, because I don't feel the need to do that. If someone wants to have, 10, 12 options and they're all fighting over that person, go for it. But that kind of stuff I would look at and be like, I'd rather be filing my nails. I have zero interest in doing that. Now, allegedly, I heard from
someone's cousin's sister's brother's dog. Go ahead.
Someone that was on the show,
right?
Allegedly said, said that they allegedly there was a little pressure there, allegedly, to form a relationship. So the legitimacy, and listen, I've been in TV before. It's a business. I did a really fun show. I played ball, I was like, hey, but when we're talking about a show where, allegedly someone felt, they felt pushed to be in there. For me, and knowing that too, it's okay, I don't know. I'm about matchmaking and the seriousness of a soulmate and a partner and a best friend, whether you get married or not, really actually doesn't matter. It's finding that person that you can, life is short. Life is short. And if you're dating the wrong person, if you're dating someone where you don't feel that you're getting back, what you're putting into, that person is not as interested,
right.
or they're, they don't really care or prioritize this relationship. Life
Right.
is really too short for that, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I have questions on that too. I'll just move through some of these questions. Thomas, I wrote questions down. I don't do the questions, but this I did questions. Okay.
Okay.
I
feel honored. You don't do questions, but you wrote them for me. I love it.
Here we go. I know you did these 7 habits. What are the 7 habits that ruin a relationship? But before that, I'll start off with this. Everything now is a phone. Selfies, checking messages. You see it at dinner. And sometimes it's mutual, and I guess it's okay. But then there's the one where people are in bed. I don't do it, but I'm just saying.
Wait, what do you mean they're in bed? Like a couple, or they're taking a picture of themselves in bed?
Well, yeah, not that. I don't know. I guess I'm sure that happens too. But like checking messages, you lay down before bed. You're like, what do you do? Because there's a space there. It's like,
yeah, I mean, listen, I agree with you. There's some things and just, there has to be something sacred. And I hate to be vulgar to compare it to this, but when you said bed and hey, the other person's on the phone, I'm like, that is true. That should be sacred in the day. And it reminds me of the one other place, the bathroom.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Please, when I'm going to the bathroom, do not come in and start brushing your teeth. Can we just save something like when I'm in the bathroom, the door is closed?
Right.
The bathroom and the bedroom, you're absolutely right. Just those 2 places when you're a couple. Come on.
Yeah.
I agree.
As someone who gives relationship advice, I mean, social media's got to be hilarious for you. You should be a comedian with that. I mean, I see posts. I saw a meme today, actually, and it was spot on. It was these girls, and I'm not putting down anybody. I don't do that. Right. But there was 3 women, showing everything, that kind of thing. And it says, if you're a woman like this, don't think you can get a man like this. And it showed a man in a suit, or chilled. You could tell they work out. They're good to themselves. They're taking them to a nice restaurant, that kind of thing. It's about that life. You know what I mean? Because you have different classes of everybody, and there's nothing wrong with it. If that's what you choose to do and be, hey.
Agree.
Do it to the best that you can be. If you're going to put yourself out like that, be the best at it. I always say that.
I absolutely agree. I mean, listen, I'm not just these last 2 things. I'm not just agreeing with you to be friendly. I actually strongly agree with this as well.
Yeah.
And if I disagree with something, I'll certainly let you know.
Absolutely.
But I agree, because at the end of the day, I think it's, I try to always have that viewpoint and listen.
Yeah.
Everybody, there's no judgment.
Absolutely.
Everybody has their own things. So we're not saying these things to put anyone down. Now, for example, my service, my clients, I have this thing. It's like, the no gold digger rule. But do I look at anyone who's like, yeah, I'm a true gold digger? Do I look at you as a bad person? Absolutely not.
Yeah, there's a lot of
everybody has their own thing, and I'm not going to judge you. Now, I can have my business and work with who I want to work with, but I don't judge it. So what you just said about the meme is occasionally, I meet different people. I mean, this is my full-time job. It's not 9 to 5, and it's not Monday through Friday. It's all the time. And I'm always meeting people in my social life. And I have met at times women that, no judgment, but they might behave or dress or, take those selfies in a certain way. But if they verbalize to you what is their type, when they describe, they want someone, who's this kind of conservative.
Oh, yeah.
I think to myself, hey, that's probably going to be a little bit difficult. You can't put out a certain message, or what I think is hilarious are men and women do this, especially online dating. Or dating apps where they're like, oh, I want a relationship. I'm sick of being single. I just want to. but then they start messaging with someone and then just never go out with them or just drop off the face of the earth. So it's like, you're saying you want something, but it's the action, like, and then you wonder why you're not getting it. It's not confusing without any judgment, of course.
There is a Disneyland for this. I'm serious. I'll explain this. There's all these Barbies. Okay. Like I said, not putting anyone down, but Barbies.
Right.
And then you got the dudes that are usually around, I don't know, they're from, I'd say starting around 55 going up to, I've seen up to 70, 75
but
years
no
old.
judgment.
Okay, yeah, hold on. No judgment.
I'm joking.
But you'll know where I'm going with this. I'm talking about a Disneyland, and I'll name the place. But you see this, and you see the Ferraris and the Lamborghinis and the Bentleys in this particular place all the time, and you see the same girls, because I was around it. You know what I mean? I lived right there, and I would go to certain restaurants and I would see it. But you see this one girl with this one Ferrari, and then, the same girl 2 weeks later at a different restaurant is with this other Lamborghini, and they like swap each other. I'm talking Huntington Beach.
Well, definitely Huntington Beach, but yes, Huntington Beach.
It's like, HB is like that. So is Corona Del Mar. We call it it's like a Disneyland for that. It's just fun to watch. Nothing wrong. They're both into it. They're adults. They like it.
Yeah, and it really depends too. At the end of the day, I totally get what you're saying. And listen, for someone to deny it and say, "Oh, how could you say that?" Listen, I mean, that's kind of why stereotypes exist. We're not saying everyone, but there's a reason for it.
Hey,
right?
It worked for them. It worked,
and it's Huntington Beach, But at the end of the day, what's fascinating is, listen, it might be the way. Listen, who knows? And we all have our different things. Maybe someone grew up in a way where they, it's called quote daddy issues, or they're looking for a father figure, or maybe they grew up in a certain way, and
or they're just looking really, for cash.
They're beautiful. They get along with their looks, so they've been somehow in their life But I have to say, at the end of the day, as long as we're all self-aware, and as long as we're honest with ourselves, and just occasionally like checking in with ourselves and taking the temperature and going, all right, am I satisfied right now? Right. Am I happy right now, or okay with, the way things are going, or what I'm choosing? And there's no right or wrong answer, but I think to always just kind of be inquisitive. I think a lot of people in that kind of Disneyland that we see, some of them, yes, are happy. And some of them, that's their thing. And the guy is like, oh, I always wanted this. But when we're looking at, different guys, and then it's like a rotation of people, no one's a bad person, but there's a percentage in there of the men and the women that really are chasing their tails here, and really have this feeling, if they really took the time to look inward and go, I don't know, something's empty about this. I'm not happy. So, you know what I'm saying? There's a significant percentage in that Disneyland that eventually, that don't
it wears off.
Really belong there. Yeah. It's fascinating. I got contacted by a semi-celeb, beautiful girl in Los Angeles, early 30s, stunning, tall, blonde, from a nice family, great career, happens to be in television. And she said to me, this is my, first time reaching out to a matchmaker, my, esthetician. We were talking about it, and she mentioned your name. And, it was a real, kind of on her part. She was nervous. She was kind of like, all right, can you tell me about it? And at the end of the day, we had a great conversation. We felt totally comfortable with each other. And we had a discussion about, okay, what has been going on in your dating life? You're smart. She's beautiful and smart with a great job. I mean, and again, no stereotypes, but in LA, that's a pretty impressive, platform here.
Absolutely.
She's the whole package, let's just say. And I said, what's been going on in your dating life? And she said, Amy, quite frankly, it's not that I can't get dates. It's not that I don't get asked out. She said, I go out on dates all of the time. But at the end of the day, the people in her industry, she said, a lot of them, are jerks or insincere. And she goes, Amy, there were a few guys that I dated, and she said, honestly, I feel that some of these men were so used to dating, younger women that they were able to control. And because she has a wonderful job, makes a great living, and she looks the part of the type of look that they like, they weren't used to the fact that she was so independent and they couldn't control her. And she felt that those relationships failed ultimately because the men she was dating weren't comfortable with that. So it's interesting that, and then I work with clients that are like, why would I want to go out with someone, so much younger than me? That's weird. Like,
right.
What do we, talk about? Or, I want a partner that I can kind of relate to. And it's not a judgment, but it's fascinating because I told her, I said, oh my goodness, for every guy that says, all right, this relationship isn't working out because I want my Barbie and I can't control you because I feel when I, buy you things, when I do things for you, like I'm the main person, but she does all that stuff for herself and they don't like that.
Wow.
It's very, very interesting. Yeah.
Talking to Amy Laurent right now, celebrity matchmaker. If you want to chime in, 949-441-4321, and we'll get you on. 7 habits that ruin a relationship.
Only 7? No, I'm just kidding.
753 habits that we'll take the top 7, and then I'm going to go through your list.
Which lists are you talking about?
The for men list.
Okay, I'm kind of knew that's what you were talking about. Okay, I mean, so I would say that, and we're not talking male or female specific,
right?
Just
yeah,
general,
absolutely.
Common, that can make or break a relationship. I would say one of the top ones is insecurity. When someone is just constantly, well, where are you going to be? Are you going to be out with your friends? I really don't feel like you're hanging out with
Smothering.
your friends. Why haven't you texted me? It's been 1 hour. You must be doing something. You know what I mean? It is a neediness, whether people are aware of it or not. But at the end of the day, especially, if your partner hasn't given you reason, and isn't doing anything, obviously, but also hasn't given you reason to think that, that could be rooted from, something a person approaches relationships with personally. It's a personal struggle, but that is a relationship killer. At some point, that person's going to go, you know what? I'm just tired of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm tired of, also, too, someone that's constantly, I would say, complaining. My big thing with relationships, and again, I'm a woman, so of course I understand females. And I also have worked very closely with men for 15 years, day in, day out. So you can imagine that gives me a very interesting kind of bird's eye view of men that the typical woman usually is never going to get, right? Unless you work closely with men. So I feel like I understand both men and women. And the thing is, sometimes you see marriages even, or relationships where suddenly people get comfortable.
Yes.
And you know what I'm saying? And
Absolutely.
It's not that you have to be like, oh, it's like a Sunday, so I'm going to walk out in my, ball gown to keep things interesting. Like, I'm not saying that, but the comfortability where it's almost, you're not working at it anymore.
Sure.
Or also, too, where relationships or marriages where the woman, out of habit or comfortability, it's almost like becomes the mom. So, men aren't really looking for a mother. They're looking for a partner.
Absolutely.
So that's actually a big mistake that I also see in the public in dating. I'm not even, when we talk dating, I'm not even talking about, just clients or matchmaking. Part of my other hat is relationship advice, coaching. I do coach people that I don't match make. And you just see it, or even, have you been out to dinner with a group of friends and you know, one of them, you know, the couples, it's like the way she, you know, talks to her significant other, you go, oh, that's like, you know, don't eat like that. Oh gosh, cut your meat into squares. Why are you eating? You know what I'm saying?
It's damn, poor dude.
Fascinating. Yeah. So that's definitely a relationship killer. Also, I mean, I'm being very honest here.
Sure.
Lack of intimacy is not good. Is not good for a relationship.
In that regard, though, there's you know, I mean, lack of intimacy depends on the type of intimacy. If it's just cuddling up and things like that.
I'm talking about sex as well.
I was going to go there.
I'm being honest with you.
I was going to go there. But a lot of times, too, I would say this. If there's a situation where that can't be done, then it's okay. But if it's in a relationship.
Where physically, and I'm not even saying it has to be done on a schedule. No one's talking about that. But if you're
does the
X amount per week. But if I promise you, and you know, I struggle with this because I'm a feminist in many ways. I mean, if you think I'm, you know, this woman here that's, you know, all about the men, but it's fascinating how I can really say something honest about men because I know them. And where some women get completely offended. Well, Amy, you're taking us back to 1960. And no, I'm not. Because at the end of the day, I'm talking about human beings, interrelationship and courting. Oh, well, how could I let the man pay for the first date? That's saying I'm not equal. I mean, that's just to me. Yeah. I don't agree with it. Everybody has a right to their opinions. But yes, if a woman's going to get offended, what I'm saying about sex, that if you just have an entire lack of it in your relationship, it's my opinion, I'm going to be honest, not what you want to hear, is that leads to a very big problem in your relationship. If you guys are sleeping in separate rooms and think, oh, it's just for a little while, see where that goes. See where that takes your relationship. Wow. It's a problem.
I think Thomas had a question.
I was just going to ask, doesn't intimacy
He's like, how many times per week? Tell me so I can tell my girl. You said so.
Yeah, okay.
I was just wondering, doesn't intimacy look different depending on whether you're a man or a woman? Like guys might think, okay, yeah, I want, you know, sex X number of times, but maybe a woman's looking for something different in the relationship that's going to open things up to where she's going to want to be more passionate. Mm-hmm. But if the guy's not feeding her needs,
of course,
then she's not.
Intimacy is not just sex alone. Intimacy is all of that. Yeah. But it's not without the sex either. It's not like, oh, okay, we're going to be romantic, but like we've had sex once this year. It's all together. So maybe I should have stated that. I mean, I was honing in that point about the sex part being important because I feel like that part is ignored. But you are absolutely right in that you cannot look at your partner and say, okay, why aren't you having sex with me? Like, I haven't had sex with you this entire month. As a partnership, you have to go, what is my part? And you also have to do things, and that's part of intimacy, that will create that desire and that connection. You can't just say, oh, I just expect you to have sex with me. So it's all of that.
So do you have any like statistics on like what the typical relationship, like when you're talking about intimate relations, like how often that happens in healthy relationships?
Right. Well, there's nothing typical. I've learned that for sure in this job that I'm at. But, you know, whenever I hear the word typical or like, what's your typical client or what's the typical problem? You know, that's a really tough thing. But at the end of the day, you know, I would say, I mean, they mathematically might say, listen, most couples, if you have children, you're married once or twice a week. That's like an average from a poll that they took. So we don't know how accurate that is. But I'm not somebody that would set a number per week. And by the way, some weeks can be busier or more stressful than others.
Sure.
So, you know, life is life. But I think people inherently know, if you ask yourself the question, do I feel close and do I feel that my relationship has intimacy and a closeness all around, whether that's, emotional, sexual, but ask yourself that. And I think people will, if they're honest with themselves, they know the answer to that.
Yeah.
Real
quick, I want to say hey to a few people that are watching. Hey, Keith, how are you? Good to see you. Nancy, how are you? Just some people that are
chiming in
on social media. So I thought I'd say that. You put out a list. That's
yeah. Go ahead.
I saw this. We're friends on social media. So I saw this and this is a cool list. And I went around the office. You know me, just walking around.
Yeah.
So I saw this list, and I was very proud of the list myself because I did it. I did everything but two. So I'll go. I don't know how much of the list I should go over, but
whatever you want.
And I don't know how I know how we're going to do this. I guess I'm going to read the list, and I'm going to tell you if I did or not, and you can chime in. Okay, we'll do that. Okay. Stop talking about where you went to college. I never do that.
Neither do I.
Ever. Okay. Oh.
That's a big one. And listen, it's a lot of these things are quick tongue-in-cheek things to actually hone in, kind of a bigger point. Sometimes it's not, literal, but in essence, one of the dating kind of faux pas is some men rely heavily on, hey, I've got the nerves, beautiful woman.
Yeah.
I want this date to go well. So they start kind of sounding off their resume.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? Whether that's college or
kind of like
work.
name dropping, except they're place dropping.
Yeah. And people use that, and I understand why as a crutch because they're nervous. But at the end of the day, people are just trying to get to know you. It should have a flow to it. So yeah, it's like, just stop repeating where you went to college, especially these guys like, in every conversation, they somehow manage to work it in. My days in Wharton. Oh, did I tell you? I know this is a college buddy from Wharton. It's like, it's worked into every conversation.
Wharton.
So
and see, always carry cash. Keep some in your front pocket. I have a money clip that has my credit cards, and I have cash in my front pocket. Always do that. Rebel from business casual. Burn your khakis and wear a suit or jeans. That's all I wear. Mm-hmm. That's it.
That's a little tongue in cheek. I mean, it's not against anyone that likes khakis.
I can't do khakis. I'll just move on.
I know. I'm not a khakis girl, so I felt I could put that.
Never stay out after midnight 3 nights in a row unless something really good comes up on the third night. Now, when I was in high school, going to clubs in my early 20s.
Oh, you went to clubs in high school, huh?
Yeah, I was. There was a club in Hawaii called Spats. It was very, very exclusive, and they had what's called the black card. Everyone wanted that Spats black card because there was no waiting in line or anything. You got drinks, and I had that at 16 years old.
And you went for more than 3 nights in a row.
Absolutely.
But now you don't.
No. You will regret your tattoos. Okay, I have one, but it's kind of hidden. Never date an ex of your friend. I agree with that one. Yeah, you should never do that.
And there's some people that even do it. And some people are like, well, we couldn't help it. We had chemistry and all of that. I mean, listen. No judgment, but that's just this is a big world out there.
Yeah, I know people that have, and it's all good.
Yeah.
Everybody's cool about it.
You get through it.
Yeah.
If you can help it.
It's usually a bro thing that you kind of don't just do. It's kind of an unwritten rule, but people do it. And
same with women.
Yeah. And it is what it is. When a bartender
asks,
that was the one. It is what it is.
That's the one you do.
Yes,
apparently.
that was it. That was one of them. Yeah, that's the last one you put. Don't say it is what it is. I just said it. See?
Gotcha.
Yeah. See, there's 2 of them.
Oh, it came out.
There's 2 of them.
Well, it's also kind of meant, and then again, it's a little tongue in cheek, but then it's kind of, we've all been out on the date with someone that it's kind of like the college thing where they'll have something like a catchphrase And that's always worked into the conversation like 10 times.
Yeah, right.
So,
I saw that one.
it is what
I thought I was
it's
doing
okay.
very, very well when I saw the list. Like, I only got one. Then I said, it is what it is. I got this is the last one on our list. When the bartender asks, you should already know what you want to drink. Absolutely, I have that down. If you perspire, wear a damn undershirt. Exactly. When people don't invite you to the party, you really shouldn't go. Yeah, no doubt.
There are some people that really don't understand that, but it's okay.
People are tired of seeing the funny drunk guy. I don't get to that point. No selfies. Aspire to experience photo-worthy moments in the company of a beautiful woman. Absolutely, unless you're dating someone or married.
But you know what? That goes for also women.
Yeah.
I gotta let women know, especially sometimes you see on the dating apps or even like on their social media, people, and there's no judgment, but are addicted to kind of that, hey, look at me. Hey, look at me. And I have to say 99% of all the really eligible and great clients that I've worked with, so many of them, most of them say, you know what, when we go over the list of like, what type of person I'm looking for, there's so many men that bring up, oh, by the way, I'm going to describe this type in a nutshell, Amy. Please do not set me up with a woman that has a bunch of selfies on her Instagram. Like that's actually used as to like, let me just sum it up what I don't want.
Right.
And they mention the person with all of these selfies. Well, quite frankly, I think some of the women that take these selfies, the type of men that they really want to meet, there's nothing that could put them off probably more.
Yeah,
than the selfies.
that's kind of the meme that I talked about
Yes.
earlier. Yeah. It's just
Absolutely.
like no. Let's see. No selfies. There's always another level. Just be content knowing that you are still better off than most who have ever lived. Absolutely. In my life story, absolutely.
Something to live by.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anyone can take that and, apply. There's that saying, if you have a roof over your head and something to eat today, you're a lot richer.
Yeah, absolutely.
Than most people. So it's something to remember. Yeah.
You're experiencing life now. What you're experiencing life now is what you wished for yesterday. So you got to just got to be grateful with that. You can get get away with a lot more if you're the one buying the drinks. Damn straight.
Well, that's just a no-brainer.
Ask for salad instead of fries. Absolutely. And I think people are leaning towards that now.
However, I do have to say a secret part of me, whenever I've been out and someone, I ordered the salad and then, the waiter asks, okay, sir, what, salad or fries? There is a part of me that's a little bit secretly happy when he says the fries, because then I can have like two of them.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. Sometimes I will eat fries now, Don't split a check. I agree with that. Yeah, I agree with that. Pretty women who are unaccompanied want you to talk to them. So it's not, I got in big trouble one time for tweeting that. And then all of a sudden my phone started blowing up I had this group going, oh, I suppose, sexual assault is something you're encouraging. So it was, and I understand how someone could take that statement the wrong way. But I have to explain that this is a list that was compiled for tongue in cheek. It's all in good fun, meaning if a man, this doesn't mean if a woman does not want you to approach her, is not interested. Okay. Yeah.
This
stay away.
Not mean that.
Yeah.
What it means is this is a message to men who are shy, who kind of lack a little bit of confidence, that maybe see someone they're interested. The woman looks at them, across the room. Women can, with their actions, show you whether you're welcome, right? They're not going to turn their backs to you and be like, oh my God, please don't talk to me. I hope he doesn't come up here. As a man, you're gonna pick up on that body language and understand, okay, wait, I think that she'd be receptive if I approached her. But a lot of men don't approach because they're like, I don't want to be that guy. What if I get shot down? So this is telling the guy, and especially if the woman is smiling, making eye contact, take a chance.
Yeah.
That's what this means.
I'll go through a few. We're coming up on time here, so I'll go through a few more of these real quick. When a bartender buys a round, tip double. I think you should tip. And as far as the service industry goes, you should always tip double. These people work their ass off. Having money is not about what. Let's see. Do not use an electric razor. I do not. I wet shave.
You say that proudly.
I say that proudly. Desserts are for women. Order one and pretend you don't mind that she's eating yours. Absolutely. Buy a tuxedo before you were 30. I absolutely did. And I still, I have 2 of them now. Place dropping is worse than name dropping. That's what Thomas was saying. Yep. Yes, of course you have to buy her dinner. Staying angry is a waste of energy. Absolutely. Always bring a bottle of something to the party. Always do. If it's got velvet ropes and lines, walk away unless you have a Spats card.
I did not say that.
So I'm trying to remember what the second one was. Feigning unpretentious is worse than being pretentious. Cut out the vintage polo. Yeah, I don't do that. You wouldn't see me doing that ever.
You're like, I never did that. Ever.
No one cares if you're offended. So I would never take an ex. Okay, that's the one. That was the second one. Right. Never take an ex back. She tried to do better and is settling with you. I think
no tongue in cheek.
I think most people have actually, unless it was really bad, have tried to get back with an ex. That was the second.
I would agree with that.
That was the second thing on the list. That okay, I've done that. And then
I think a lot of people have done that like 2 or 3 or 4 times, especially if there's chemistry and they're really trying to fit that square and that round, Sure. Maybe that's a bad example.
And then this one was fun. Hookers aren't cool. And remember, the free ones are the most expensive. I love that.
Oh,
and then the last one was don't ever say it is what it is. So I only had 2. I did well with this.
You did really well, Jack.
Fun list.
I'm impressed. Especially the electric razor one.
Absolutely.
You're ahead of the game if that one works for you.
No, because I'll get into men's
You
grooming.
did well.
No, if you wet shave, it's good to, you exfoliate your face, dudes. Gents, okay, you exfoliate, you help, renew the skin on your face. It's best to use a badger brush. It really is, and create your own foam. And
you know your stuff. The one relationship breaker, though, that I left out earlier was when you shave and you leave the hair in the sink. That has been the cause of many breaks.
Speaking of memes, the best one I've seen is it's a picture of a bathroom. And you've got the woman's iron, her everything all over the place, makeup, sponges. I mean, the whole sink, there's not an inch of space. And then on the bottom of the sink, of the meme, it says, "You forgot to put the seat down." Really?
It is so true. And listen, at the end of the day, we can go through these little, hey, here's some tips, some advice for relationships, for first dates. But at the end of the day, kind of knowing all of these things can be overwhelming to someone and go, oh my gosh, I hope I get it right. And what I tell people is at the end of the day, take all of this stuff, just then put it to the back, and just go and be yourself, and things will naturally fall into place. Don't get super caught up in the advice or the do's and don'ts. Just be aware of it, absorb it, trust, that
Absolutely.
You're going to always do, and just go in and enjoy yourself and, enjoy the dating process, and meeting someone new is probably the most important thing over any of these do's or don'ts.
Absolutely. We're running out of time here. I know you're going to be coming back on, and you'll be coming back on with video.
I'm looking forward to it.
I appreciate you coming on. Just hang on after the show so we can talk about something.
Sounds great. Thanks, Jeff.
Yeah, this is great. I appreciate it. I knew the show was going to be good. But the hard-hitting questions, Thomas. Do you use a razor? No, I'm kidding.
He doesn't even use one?
No, he's got a goatee and a mustache.
Yeah, no, I use
Some
this.
women like that.
He uses, yeah.
I wet shave.
There you go. See, that's what I'm talking about.
All right.
Well,
Good man.
And I appreciate you being on. I really, really do. And thank everybody for listening. And I always segue into this. We just always hard to do this, but wet. Okay. Hawaii, where I'm from. If you're looking for property in Hawaii to rent, buy, sell, lease, commercial or residential, you want to get a hold of Darcel Rea at 808-215-9942. Normally on Thursdays, we have Laura Fredericks on. The schedules for both of us have been just running kind of tight. So we're trying to work on something now. Laura is the expert on the Ask. She has the book called The Ask, and you can get it at expertontheask.com. And she'll be back on the show as soon as we can get our schedules redone. So I thank you for checking her out. If you want to hear this show again or all of our previous shows, go to realtalkshow.com. You can find them all there. If you want to get a hold of me or Thomas, actually, you can go there. There's a form you can fill out. We'll read it. Or you can go to info@jjmmediagroup.com if you want someone to be on the show, if you want us to interview someone or just anything, you can get a hold of us there. If you want to know what I'm doing, where I'm going, how to get in touch with me to speak at your event or whatever, you can go to jackmcadoo.com, MCADOO.com, and someone will get back to you in regards to that as well. Also, and I did miss this, if you want to hear this show or any of the other shows, you can hear them on virtually every single podcast platform there is, on iHeart, Spotify, iTunes, Apple Music, Google Play, Google Podcast, Player FM, TuneIn, and all of them. We're on them. So like this show will probably be on there within an hour, however long it takes them to recycle. And that's going to do it. I appreciate everyone for coming in. I appreciate you, Amy. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jack. Thank you. It's a pleasure.
Absolutely. And I thank you, Thomas, and I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
So everybody, I will see you again, not next week. I'm out of town next week. So the week after the next show is with Daniel Tuttle. Mm-hmm. He is the provocative intuitive. That is going to be a hell of a show as well. So anyway, thank you, everybody. Peace and aloha.